Before we place the mouse inside the box, here is what it looks like. As you can see, they are calm and comfortable. To start the experiment, we opted to place the small mouse, female, in the box first. Inside the box, she is trying to investigate her new surroundings. As we released the shock on the first attempt, she became worried, irritated, scratched her feet and body, and actively tries to find her way out. She even urinated while battling the discomfort of electrical shock, until she was able to locate and activate the button that caused the shock to stop. After 5 minutes, we performed the second trial shock on her, and she was really anxious, but this time, she seemed so weak, and instead of pressing the off button, she located the safe zone within the box and stayed there, knowing that she was safe. We let her rest for a while and transferred to her original cage.
To continue our experiment, we placed the big mouse, the male one, inside the box. As we released the shock on the first attempt, we noticed that he was startled, scratching his body, picking his nose, got urinated and pooped. On the second and third attempt of shock, he became so weak and didn't find the off button or the safe zone. We let him rest after the experiment. However, when we are about to transfer him to his original cage, he became aggressive and elusive. We encountered difficulty during transfer because he don't want to be touched and is trying to bite us whenever we hold him.
In the final stage of our experiment, we both placed the mouse into the Skinner box together to see what would happen if they were inside the box together. During the first trial, the small mouse, which is the female, discovered the safe zone under the button. When the big mouse, which is the male, notices that the other mouse is unaffected by the shock, he follows her, and they both remain close to the button. As the big mouse moved, he pressed the button off, which ended the shock.
Therefore, we drew the conclusion that in this experiment, the mouse quickly learned to press the button and turned off the shock due to the use of negative reinforcement. When the switch is continuously pressed, the electric shock that serves as a negative stimulus is eliminated. It serves as an example of how eliminating a distracting factor may promote desired behavior rather than acting as a punishment.
Different variables that we know have an impact on the subject's behavior were developed throughout the experiment. First, it was the gender, because we had noticed that the male mouse tolerance to the shock is low because his scrotum, which directly received the shock, made him weak immediately. The female mouse, on the other hand, has a greater shock tolerance, which helped her find the switch more quickly.
The size of the mouse was another variable we took into account. The small mouse was able to escape the shock since she was more active, could effortlessly explore almost every corner of the box, and was perfectly fit into safe zones. In comparison to the large mouse, he had trouble moving and climbing, and even if he reached the safe zones, certain sections of his body were still exposed to the danger zone, causing him to receive shock continuously.
The sizes and layout of the Skinner box are the last variables we noticed. According to what we observed, some of the group members created large boxes that were excessively roomy and made it difficult for the mouse to locate the switch. Additionally, some boxes have a safe zone that is large and elevated, so the mouse would undoubtedly choose to stay in that safe zone in order to prevent the shock. Due to the relative smallness of our box, our subject is given the opportunity to effortlessly analyze every inch of it.
The mouse behavior after receiving a minor electric shock served as the experiment's dependent variable, while the mild electric shock itself served as the experiment's independent variable. Most of the mice used in this experiment showed alterations in behavior, as a result of the pain they experience while they receive a shock. They were more likely to drastically change their behavior the longer they were exposed to the shock. With the aid of our developed variables, we may infer that mice who experience the most shock exhibit the most behavioral changes. They are the ones who become more aggressive, elusive, frightened, and inclined to harm.